over to you as we start the recording, and we believe that we're going to learn a lot from you. As I indicated, my name is Tembegile Felicia Makubele, the host for this platform. So over to you, Sanele.
Thank you so much, my sister. Good afternoon to Dr. Madome. I can see Shetrek and Zola. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here and interact with our lovely people. And I'm sure that even those that will probably join at a later stage will enjoy the discussion, including those that are going to probably watch a recording. It's an honor that you are watching this recording. We have created the platform, or Sister Megida has created the platform and called some of us to actually share and empower each other as Africans and as human beings. So thank you so much, Swami. My name is Sanele Gamede. I'm from KZN here in South Africa, in Durban. That's where I reside. I'm a full-time lecturer. I'm a youth life and a career coach. I'm an educational motivational speaker as well. I do employability coaching under Ilada Holdings, which is a company that I founded, which does personal development and training. So, and I also run an NPO that I founded. It's called Make a Mark Africa Youth Development. It's an organization that also promotes the issue of personal development through mentorship and coaching. So we run a program called Free Mentorship at the Park program, which is a monthly program that is all over the country. We offer this program to young people for free. I'm an author of 3 published books, and I think I have 3 to 4 that are yet to be published, and I'm still writing. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, where I'm looking at radio audience. That's the area of interest. So yeah, I think that's it for me. I'm a father as well. That's very important. I'm married to a very beautiful woman. Siswami, a very interesting topic that you have asked me to share with our brothers and sisters here, a topic that is very close to my heart. It speaks to exactly what I do on a daily basis, the issue of employability, the issue of empowering young people. So you said, let us look at innovative ways of fighting unemployment. And we are fighting a battle. I don't know if we are winning, but I trust that at some point we are going to win this battle. We are going to drop these numbers to a little bit lower number. We might not be able to eliminate the issue of unemployment, because the issue of unemployment, it's a very big issue. You normally hear people who do not even understand where this issue is coming from talk as if it's something that you can just pour water and then it's fixed, or you can just press a button and then it's fixed. It's not something that you can fix just quickly. If I may share a background a little bit of some of the reason why I say you can't just touch a button or click a button or press a button and then this is fixed. The reason being, or the reason I'm saying that is the fact that it goes as far back as high school, or primary, or let me say secondary education, the basic education. We have a study that I'm sitting with here that I was talking about, or engaging in SAFM recently, that has been published in one of the research institutions that work with the Department of Basic Education, that shows a huge number of young people who have dropped out of school, which definitely shows the fact that as long as we have a number of people that drop out from school, especially basic education, we'll still have the problem of unemployment. So it's not a quick fix. So we need to be careful when we are talking about it, so that we don't raise unnecessary hope that we are going to fight this thing to the core and we are going to eliminate it and stuff like that. So, but there are a number of reasons, as far as I've been working with young people, as someone who worked with a young person from high school on how to choose a career and transit with this young person to university, where I do student development and look at the issue of how you can finish your qualification in record time. And then from there, I transit with this young person to post university, where we look at the issue of employability. So I transition with this young person. And what I've noticed, Sister Begile and everyone who's watching, is the fact that there are a number of reasons why in South Africa, in SADC, in Africa, and maybe the globe, we have so many young people unemployed. Amongst people that are unemployed, we have young people that are unemployed. The first thing that we can highlight is the lack of job opportunities in the country. If I were to be specific, in South Africa, we have the issue of low job opportunities that are there, and there are a number of reasons why we have low job opportunities. And then we have the issue of young people that are unemployable, which also causes the high rate of unemployment. Okay, even when you want to hire these young people, they don't have skills, you can't hire them. And then we also have a serious issue of the type of qualification that is still rendered both in basic education, the type of education, let me just say the type of education, let me not put it as the type of qualification, because yes, it's in two folds. You have the basic education, which the system of education is really a challenge. It is, in a way, producing young people that are going to be unemployable. We have the tertiary qualifications as well that we have, that produces massive of young people that are going to be unemployable. Okay, some of the qualifications that are offered there, you fail. I'm an employability practitioner. I try to sell as many qualifications as I can, but I do have some of the qualifications that even when I want to sell this qualification of this young person who have came to me and said, Sanele, can we meet for an employability coaching session so that you can take me through on how I can sell myself? I still find it very hard to sell this young person to employers because of the type of qualification that this young person has. And then it goes as the quality of tertiary education, the high expectation from employers and graduates is also a challenge. We have employers that are not interested in grooming young people anymore. Back in the days, you will have employers taking young people. If I were to say it in my own language, I will say, belhlaza, bengasilutho, without any type of work experience or any pre-exposure when it comes to the work environment. And they will take that risk. But nowadays, we have employers that are not interested. We have so many money or profit-driven employers that are not interested in empowering the masses. And we also have, an issue, which is one of the biggest problems, Sister Begide, when I speak to young people, they always complain and they are justified. But we also have an issue of young people who lack job searching skills. And in a way, I don't blame them because some of the tertiary institutions do not expose them to the idea of having the ability to look for opportunities out there while we are still studying. But at the same time, I also blame them because you need to expose yourself while you are studying. I was just coaching young people a few hours ago at the free mentorship at the park program in botanical gardens in Durban, where we were looking at the issue of education, careers, and employability. So I was sharing with them, saying, you need to start exposing, you need to start looking at a bigger picture while you are still at tertiary. And we had two young, beautiful ladies who are doing taxation at the Durban University of Technology. And I'm asking them, what are you going to become after you have studied these qualifications? And they seem to be confused. And I'm asking them, where are you going to work? What are the opportunities out there? And they haven't thought about that. They're like, Sanele, we're still studying. We first years, and we haven't even came to that point where we think about that. And I'm like, that's exactly the mistake that many young people do. Because if you were to think about the end goal while you are at your first year, you will definitely not even fail. When young people ask me, Sanele, how did you manage the fact that you are doing your 10th year at university straight? You are at your PhD level and you have never failed a module. I normally share with them, guys, I had an end goal. I had that, end result, or I had that picture so clear for me. So we have those young people that don't have that. And of course, the last one that I would like to highlight is the issue of the lack of work experience. A lot of companies, a lot of departments, a lot of organizations are looking for young people, as I've highlighted, that have work experience. And to my surprise and my curiosity, and sometimes it makes me, want to boil a little bit when companies, organizations, and departments want young people to have experience. I even had a talk with the VC, the former vice chancellor from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, where I had a case of my wife who couldn't go back to study because I was paying for her fees and I didn't have money. So I was asking for funding, and they told me, Sanele, she's not from South Africa, so she's not going to qualify for funding. And I was like, she's married in South Africa. And beside that, she's married in South Africa, she's going to be an asset in South Africa because she's not going to go back to her country after she has finished, which means it is at an advantage for South Africa to invest in this person because soon this person is going to be an asset. But my idea, I went as far as proposing to the VC to say, I think I was doing my master's after having done my first degree, my first honors, second honors, and I was doing my master's at the time. And I'm like, can I get a job from the institution? And then I will allow the institution to take some money from me, from my salary to pay for her fees. And the VC said, there is no employment and all of that. And I asked him, you mean there is no employment, or you are not interested in taking in your own graduates? Because we have institutions that will prefer to go and look for someone else because they are saying this person lacks work experience. Where am I going to get that work experience? So those are some of the issues that I highlighted when I was doing the whole employability coaching thing, and I found as some of the challenges. And I'm sure you are listening and you thinking, I have heard all of that, and suddenly you are just highlighting something that I'm aware of. I'm really interested in the solutions, as the topic is innovative ways of fighting unemployment. We have a couple of ways, guys, amongst maybe any other solution that you can think of dealing with the issue of unemployment. I would like this issue of unemployment to be individualized firstly, and then you can then go as far as trying to fight it at a group level. We have issues at an individual level, and we have got issues at a group or at a country or at a province kind of a level, as I've highlighted some of the issues. Some of the issues that I've highlighted just now, they touch an individual, some they touch the job market, some they need government and all of that. Okay. So, but one of the most important things that I would like to indicate is the fact that the unemployment issue, it can't be a quick fix. I've highlighted this at the beginning of my presentation to say you can't fix it so quickly. But we have things that we can apply that I would like to share without boring you with my presentation so long, and allow you to probably ask a couple of questions that you might want to ask. We have quite a number of them. Number one is the issue of career guidance, I think maybe I should say proper career guidance. When I say proper career guidance, I'm talking about providing career guidance at a high school level and expose young people to qualifications and careers that are needed out there. In my book, titled Finishing Your Qualification in Record Time, I share some of the qualifications, a list of qualifications that I know very well that each and every day that list is changing. But at least I've shared a number of qualifications, and I've divided the qualification in highest in demand, high demand, in demand, and least demanded. So I've highlighted to share with a young person that you can't go and pick a qualification in the list of least demanded qualifications and then expect that you will get a job out there. So the proper career guidance that will align young people to qualifications that are needed in the job market and that are in line with the 4IR will give us a chance to fight unemployment. And then we also need to start looking at the issue of job creation. And when I talk of job creation, I know you're probably thinking of entrepreneurship. When I talk of job creation, I wouldn't like myself to speak rhetoric with you. I would like us to talk about job creation in a sense that let us engage government, let us engage different stakeholders, including private sector, non-profit organizations, and any other departments that will be hiring. But at the same time, let us think about entrepreneurship at a level where I call it grassroots. When I say at a grassroots level, I don't want really to sound rhetoric, because I'm sure you have attended a seminar about entrepreneurship, and the person that made money from that session is the person who was facilitating that session. And the rest of the attendees didn't really walk away with anything. They didn't get anything because after all, what the presenter was talking about was not really making sense to the people that were attending, or it wasn't something that was clear with a step-by-step guide in terms of how you can implement these. And sometimes I really get angry of government and any stakeholder that comes to young people and say, we would like to take 50 young people into an entrepreneurship program and all of that. All they want to do is to chow money and have their fat wallet and leave young people exposed to what is entrepreneurship. For me, if you are talking about entrepreneurship, you really need to settle down the score. You really need to level the ground, because you can't talk to me about entrepreneurship, but when I start a business, you pay me after 30 days, after 60 days, after 3 months. But you are the very government that want us to get into entrepreneurship. For me, that's rhetoric. I've spoken today. After this hour, I've spoken. Why would you take 3 months to pay me for speaking after I have spoken? Why would you pay me after 30 days instead of paying me prior to come and speak? Why would you make me go into debts in order for me to come to you and speak when you are saying you are empowering me? That is my challenge, okay? There is a very big concern for me. That's why I'm saying I prefer grassroots kind of entrepreneurship, where a young person realize or recognize an opportunity. I was teaching at Westville Prison for 6 years and teaching entrepreneurship. And the definition for an entrepreneur, every year we will define an entrepreneur as someone who recognizes an opportunity and is willing to take a risk in return for profit. But in South Africa, we can't speak as if the ground is flat for both a Black and any other race who are in business. But with that being said, I would like a young person to go and find a problem. Entrepreneurship is all about finding a problem and provide a solution to that problem. COVID-19 showed us exactly that we need problem solvers, because people stopped buying anything. They only bought solutions, because a lot of people lost jobs. A lot of people didn't have buying power, and people started buying solutions. People started buying what they needed. So that tells you exactly the definition of entrepreneurship. This is not an entrepreneurship class, but I'm trying to highlight some of the solutions, and I'm being in detail when I'm talking about the issue of entrepreneurship, because it's one that we can't argue that it is one of the tools that it can deal with or reduce unemployment, and it is one that can create job opportunities so that we can fight unemployment. And with that being said, I would like a young person to consider creativity and innovation when they're talking about entrepreneurship, when they're talking about starting a business. You can't just start a business that do not involve innovation, that do not involve creativity, because we are in a very saturated market, a market where we don't play alone as Debonites, as people from KwaZulu-Natal, as South Africans, as Africans. We play with big players from all over the world. We have companies that are coming from outside South Africa, where they are well established. And when they come here and they enter the entrepreneurship space or the business market, it's difficult for a young person to compete. So you need to be very innovative, you need to be very creative, and you need to be very authentic and be South African based in your innovative and creative ideas. I had someone sharing with me that he's looking for a life and a career coach from the US. And when I was asking, why are you approaching me? He's like, you are relevant to what I'm going through. You understand where I'm coming from. I'm a South African who lives in the US now, but I can't go to any person in the US because those people will probably not understand where I'm coming from, what are my issues and all of that. So be authentic, provide solutions that are very creative and authentic, but at the same time, don't think small. Our problem with entrepreneurship at the same time is that we think local all the time, whereas the market is huge. They are over, I'm not sure, but the last time I heard someone quoting the statistics of people in the world, I think there were over 7 billion, I'm not too sure. All those people can buy from you. That's why I'm talking about innovative and ideas that are that involves creativity. Another solution is the issue of mentorship and coaching. We need to start creating an environment where we have people we can look up to. We have people that can coach and mentor us, because many young people have great ideas, but they don't have mentors. They don't have people who can coach them. They don't have people who can work with them. Yes, there are young people who will prefer to buy a savannah instead of paying for mentorship. But at the same time, we don't have people who are willing to avail themselves. I can see here, there's Dr. Motamo. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name or your surname incorrectly. And the fact that you are a doctor, it means you have journeyed. So I'm expecting that someone like you will then be willing to work with someone, even if it's 5 people. And the idea of the free mentorship and the power program was exactly that. I've duplicated myself to almost 18 young people around the country who mentors 15 young people, 20 young people. I've launched the program in all these provinces by myself, but I can't be in all 9 provinces at once. So what I did was I duplicated myself, I duplicated the mentorship and coaching, so that we don't have a situation where a Black young South African is confused, do not even know where to start, what to do, how to do it. Okay, so that's part of the solution. And the last 2 is reskilling and upskilling. It's very important, especially aligning yourself with the 4IR, aligning yourself with the industry. I was talking to the young people at the free mentorship at the power program. I was saying, you guys don't read or do not even care about the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th edition. You did your degree, and in that module, you were using the 4th edition. And you don't even pay attention that there is now a 6th and a 7th and a 9th edition. And you don't know that the reason they have the 9th edition is because they are trying to align the module with the industry. So if you graduated 4 years ago, you are going to have young people who are going to compete with you, and the market will prefer them because you are not upskilling and reskilling yourself. So we have young people who feel so much stagnant because they are not willing to upskill themselves. But at the same time, I'm not going to be very rhetoric about upskilling and reskilling as if we don't have a situation where young people are willing to study, but there are no opportunities. And I'm not also going to be rhetoric and speak as if we don't have young people who are very irresponsible, who have been given money and they take 6 years to finish a degree for 3 years, and they waste all the opportunities. I don't care where the money might be coming from. It could be government, which is taxpayers' money. It could be your parents. It could be a bursary. It could be sponsors or a trust or something like that. But that's still money. So we have irresponsible young people. But I would like to engage, and I would like to ask young people to reconsider reskilling themselves and upskilling themselves. I am seeing my wife. I just went to her after the mentorship at the park program, to her company, and I'm seeing how she have grown. She has a geography and environmental management degree, but she is in the sewing industry. She runs a company called EPS Clothing and Brands, and she makes more money. And I even envy the amount of money that she makes. Not that she's a millionaire, but she have reskilled herself and understood what the market is looking for. And of course, she was one of the few that are lucky to have a husband who can, find somewhere some cash to inject some money for her to start. But I bought her 2 machines, and in a space of 9 months, she have added, I think, 7 machines out of the 2 machines that I bought her. So it's very important to reskill and upskill yourself. And the last one, before I let everyone who's interested in asking questions do so, is the issue of graduates' preparedness. This one is a 45-minute session on its own. The issue of CV writing, the issue of developing a personal brand, the issue of writing a targeted CV, the issue of developing a unique selling point for job interviews, and the ability to develop an online visibility through the internet and social media. That one is another tool for us to fight the unemployment that is out there. Because to be quite frank, and I don't want to sound very mean and inconsiderate to someone who's looking for a job and who have been looking for a job for quite some time. But quite frankly, there is someone who was in a job interview today. There is someone who was signing a contract today. There was someone who was starting her job today. There is someone who will be starting on Monday. There are thousands of people who will be employed by Monday. And you should be one of those people. And how to do that? You need to ensure that the job searching skills are embedded. It's something that won't come out from your degree, won't come up from your diploma or your qualification. It's something that you need to have, upskill yourself with those things. And you are very lucky to be here or watching this video, because you have someone like Sanele Gamede who's doing that, who's doing employability. Unfortunately, some people, when I say I charge 1,000 Rand to do an employability coaching, they think, damn, Sanele, it's quite expensive. And when I ask them, how much did you pay for the degree that you have, which you are sitting with at home? They will tell me, I paid 30,000 Rand a year. There was just tuition. So, which means it was almost 100,000. And then, which doesn't include probably rest and food and clothes over the three-year period. And I'm saying, so you invested over 150,000 Rand, and I'm giving you a solution to get back your return in investment, and I'm charging you 1,000 Rand. and you are complaining, yet there is an institution that have charged you 100,000 rand, and you are sitting with the degree that that institution gave you, but you are not complaining. You haven't wrote an email to that institution to say, hey, you remember that degree that you offered me in 2018? That degree is not giving me any job out there. You are complaining. That's the essence of it. It's unfortunate that you really need to upskill yourself when it comes to job searching skills. And I would really sound as if I'm now marketing my services and all of that. I don't want to sound like that, but really you need to pay attention and re-skill yourself so that you are prepared. I normally tell young people that it is very, very advisable, and I advise and I feel that it is better to be prepared for an opportunity than to be offered an opportunity and you are not prepared. Maybe let me repeat that and put it very clearly. It is really, really important to be prepared for an opportunity than to be offered an opportunity and you are not prepared. It's very disappointing. I have so many young people that I sometimes go as far crossing the line, talking to my friends, colleagues, and business partners, and whosoever to say, hey, there is Tapsile Maduna here, Tembisile Maduna, I'm sorry, who's looking for a job. Can you please assist? Only to find that when Tapsile sends her CV, she sends an email without an attachment. She sends an email without even saying good morning or hello, dear Sanele Gamede, kindly finds the attach or whatsoever that you might say, but professionally so. I have received CVs that are upside down, that are scanned, and I'm thinking, why would you scan a CV? Because a CV is on Microsoft Word. Why would you scan that CV? Why would you want to have a CV attached with your qualifications? What if they say, send us your CV alone? What are you going to do? Because some of you do not have the ability to then cut the documents. So have your CV, have your qualifications scanned, and check your qualifications. They might be scanned and certified 6 months ago, and which is going to be a problem. So you need to scan it now and again. And unfortunately, a friend of mine have written a book titled Looking for a Job or Searching a Job for a Job. It is a job on its own. And that's the truth. That's why I always advise young people to have someone who they can sit down with when it comes to employability. And for some, when I say I charge 400 rands for my CV with a 99% success rate, someone is like, Sanele, that's a lot. I'm always saying, system, I always say it is expensive to sit at home and do nothing when you have a qualification, when you have skills. And some of the skills are expiring for some people. And some people are getting old and the industry want fresh young people, okay? Sorry, I don't want to offend matured people, but that's the fact. So those are some of the things that I'm going to share or that I wanted to share in this session. And I think for me, that's where I will end for today. Glad that I hope that I highlighted some of the things that a young person who will be watching or who's listening today is interested in hearing.
Thank you so very much. Wow, it's quite interesting. I'm already asking myself, how many people am I mentoring? How many people have I taken on board just to take them through the type of careers they can take. I think even at work, I usually would talk about this kind of a approach, mentoring and coaching, which is something I think even government does not even promote. You said quite a lot, which I wouldn't want to repeat, but I would love to have people who might be having comments or questions or inputs. This session is not necessarily only for the people who are attending, but we're going to be sharing it with different types of people through emails and also WhatsApp messages for them to watch. You could have noticed that many were joining, and some are saying they are being kicked out by the system. I don't know why. So we'll rely on the recordings because probably it's network issues. But if there's anyone, thank you so much actually for the presentation. For me, it's quite an eye opener. It also raises the fact that our education system is not allowing us to be able to, or allowing our kids to be able to understand what kind of careers they need to choose. So if they don't have access to people like you, they end up, doing careers that will not necessarily assist them to be able to get jobs. And my question again is, why are universities like UCT, your Vet University, able to, I think even your UKZN, they might be doing that, but those Black universities are usually not in a position of connecting the students or the graduates prior to them graduating, or maybe a few months before they graduate, or during the end of their degree studies. Why is that? You can just park that question as I take hands and comments from the participants.
Thank you, Siswam, for asking that question. It's a very good question, and it's a concerning one for many people. They ask that kind of question. The reason being, the reason some institutions do not expose young people, it's how they are structured. We have different universities, we have different institutions of higher learning. We have TVET colleges, we have got vocational education and training institutions, we have got colleges, we have got University of Technology, we have got universities. So they have their different mandate as per the Department of Higher Education accreditation committee that gives accreditations to the qualifications that they render. So the mandates are different. If you go to UKZN promotes scholars, promotes research, promotes people who understand the field on a wider scale, instead of Mangosuthu University of Technology or DUT or another college that have that internship that you need to have before you graduate. So those are some of the institutions where you will get exposed to institutions or companies or organizations who will hire you. So that's why I highlighted or I indicated that we need proper guidance. And it seems as if no one is interested in investing in this. And it's not like they are not seeing anything, Siswami. I've been doing this career guidance and talks from 2011, July, until today. And July this year, I was turning 10 years speaking the same thing. I speak in radio, I speak in TV, I speak I write in newspapers on a weekly basis. So it's not like they don't see this, but no one is interested in investing in the proper channeling of young people, because there are young people who are channeled to universities, whereas these young people need to go to a TVET college and have a degree or have a diploma that will expose them to job opportunities and all of that. Okay, so That's very important. That's the reason why we have this kind of a situation.
What is it that we can do? Because I'm just asking myself, you gave an example with your wife, and I noticed you, Shadrach, you gave example with your wife that despite her having a degree, which is not, relevant to what she's doing on a daily basis or to her business, how do we then educate people to see beyond just a qualification? Maybe your wife also did a qualification that is not relevant to what she's actually very much skilled in, or she saw an opportunity that she decided to venture into because the one that she studied is actually not yielding results. How do we make sure that even the young people see an opportunity in things that they didn't even go to school for? Because the reason they complain is, yeah, we went to school. I know social workers were striking at some stage. Yes, we went to school. And after going to school, government is not giving us, jobs. We had a session where we were talking about the role public can play to minimize dependency, like over dependency on government. Because being taken to school by government does not necessarily mean that government will also come back and give you the job. But our education system is also not, assisting us enough to be able to capacitate ourselves and our kids to say, beyond just getting an employment, I can be an entrepreneur to solve a problem, like you said. So what is it that we can do to change this, to unlearn the fact that when we go to school, we have to come back and look for employment? I don't know if you want to answer that one, or I should give the other two to also ask the questions.
Let me take each question so that I don't skip questions, or I forget some of the questions that have been asked. I think the most important thing is to readdress our mindset when it comes to this one. And when I'm talking about readdressing a mindset, someone probably here or watching this is thinking, how the hell we can do that? I think the answer is the same way we were institutionalized into this kind of setup. We can go back and unlearn some of these things. But unfortunately, we'll have to go back to the younger generation. For some of us, there is nothing we can do. When I say let us relearn and unlearn, I'm talking about the fact that we call a toothpaste a Colgate because we're exposed to Colgate, because Colgate was exposed to us for a number of times at a very young age. Colgate came to our schools, and they did exercises with us, why we should brush our teeth and all of that. And they didn't market Colgate because we were unable to buy Colgate. We're young, we're in primary. But what happened? They had that idea instilled in our mind that even now, when I go to the shop, when I look for a toothpaste, I go for Colgate. I even call another toothpaste, hey, can you bring me that Colgate? Even when it's not written Colgate. So some of the solutions, we need to be prepared, my sister, Mrs. Felish, we need to be prepared to let go some of the generation and say, it's okay. Also, Felicia, they can continue because available in the I also you can't now try and include them in this. But for the younger generation, I think we need to go back and say, hey, let's go back to a position where we are sustainable. We are self-sustaining or sustainable as Black people. We ask Mrs. Felicia if your grandfather will walk up today. He can be embarrassed to see how we are dependent to the state. because they didn't depend on the state. And some of those things, they then lean very politically, because if you want to remove that lineage or that reliance to government, you will then have to confront some of the issues such as the land, because our forefathers were able to not rely on government that much, because they had the land. They were able to produce. Big companies were not, didn't take over, or were not that much as many as they are today. So you will have to reconfront the leadership of this country, reconfront some of the issues. I hope I am able to understand. This is a very deep issue, Sis Felicia, that you can't just fix in a one go, but you will need to go back. And when we talk about this, some people feel like we hate white people when we are talking about this issue, because this issue goes back to creating a situation where we don't depend to white people. This is not racism. I'm not racist at all, and feel free to cut this talk when you want to cut it. But to be quite frankly, this is not racism. But as far as we are relying on white people coming from overseas or anywhere, we can't bring solutions that will stop the issue that we are facing at hand. We need to be prepared to go hungry for a period while we are building things of our own. We need to be prepared to trust each other and support each other, and genuinely, not this rhetoric of buying local, when local, we are talking about the same white people. I found an Indian selling a traditional attire, a Zulu traditional attire, and I'm asking, what the hell? Why would a Zulu attire be sold by an Indian person? What does that person know about a Zulu culture or whatsoever? So it sounds very very racist when you start confronting these kind of issues, when you start talking into these issues, because we need to start embracing Ubuntu, the blackness in us, and start talking real than being rhetoric on these issues. When we need to put a stop, we need to put a stop. It's unfortunate that with our leadership that we have, some of them, they are not as prepared as they should be in readdressing the issues that we face. Sorry, Sis Swam, to take long to answer this question. I see that there is Shadrach and Zola who have questions.
No, we're here to engage. So as much information as you give is actually appreciated, because it will also allow those who are going to watch to be able to understand why and how those questions have been addressed. I'll take Shadrach first, and then you'll respond, then Zola, you'll follow. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Maybe let me first start by appreciating Mr. Gamede for such an informative presentation on this issue that is currently affecting most of our youth. Mine, it's a short one. Is it not time, in your view, Mr. Gamede, that we discontinue with some of the qualifications that are, all the qualifications are important, but that are not not that attractive anymore to the market, if people are enrolling for such qualification for the only purpose of being employed? Because I can talk for myself. I went to varsity for about 20 years ago with some of the people who to date have never worked anywhere else. So is there a justifiable need to continue with some of these qualifications in your view? Secondly, I just want to agree with you on the issue of mentorship. I happen to sit in some of the panels wherein candidates for particular position are being sought. And you look at the qualification of this person with nice and very impressive qualifications. But you look at the CV of this person, you realize there was never any coaching. Most probably this person should have been shortlisted. But the CV, his or her CV is not speaking to herself.
We lost you a little bit, Mr. Shedder.
That is not the question. It was just.
Oh, okay. We lost you a little bit, Shedder, but I think it was on your contribution. Thank you so much for agreeing me on that one. And I'm hoping that you will take it upon you to either partner with me in rendering this mentorship and coaching in the fashion that I am rendering it, or you will start adopting maybe a few individuals, few young people that you can mentor on your own. Coming to the question that you asked, I think when we are still faced with the scourge of capitalism, we will have a challenge. When I say capitalism, I don't want to sound very political right now and sound as if I'm a socialist and so forth and so forth. But the reason some of the qualifications that are useless are still rendered, it's because some people who are sitting within the committees that looks at this qualification, they have no clue. Unfortunately, which includes our government. Our government is run by people who have no clue about what is education. And the education system is run by consultants. And these consultants are the same people that want to make money. So we find ourselves in a situation where there is no way where we can terminate and discontinue because these people are interested in making money. So when you issues and all of that, they quite few that speaks to issues or addresses issues of African or that are addressing African issues or African problems. So we need to discontinue, and that needs proper consultation when it comes to the type of education that is rendered. But to my surprise is the fact that, and this will sound as if I'm bashing anyone who's in leadership, but some of them, they don't even have any clue on what is supposed to be rendered as education in the basic education and as well as tertiary institution. And to see that some of them have no clue or they don't care is the fact that their kids are not in these traditional institutions or are not in these public institutions, including basic education. Their kids are studying overseas. Their kids are studying in this most expensive primary, high school, and tertiary institutions, where a young person, when they come out from there, and I'm teaching in one of the most expensive as well, where this young person tells you about an internship of 9,000 Rand. I once attended an employability session in one of the employability sessions, and they were talking about an internship of 9,000 Rand. And I'm thinking that's a salary of 3 Black young South African, qualified Black South Africans. They are talking about an internship. They are saying that money is just an internship. It's a start. Okay, so you see by the fact that some of our politicians, some of our leaders, some of these people that should be driving this education system are taking their kids overseas where their kids are getting a real skill or real education. Some of us studied a while ago on the O-level system. Now you can guess how old I am. I'm very young. I can see that you are laughing where you are. I'm very young, but I happen to do an old syllabus, and a syllabus that taught me how to build a table. A syllabus that told me ukuthi ngashisela kanjani, a syllabus that told me agriculture, how to grow my own food. So that's the kind of syllabus that will make sure that we don't have a situation where young people are sitting at home without any job opportunities.
So in other words, you're saying there is a need to do away with some of the qualifications that we have because they don't necessarily even assist in the building a capable state that we are talking about. They don't even assist in addressing the issue of unemployment within our communities. They just make it worse. And we don't expose our people to those qualifications that will assist them to, sustainably be able to be employed. Currently they will stay with degrees. It's an obituary kind of a thing. When you die, then they will say, no, I have this degree, but it never really yield any results or even assist you in fending for yourself and for your family. Let me take Zola, and then you'll respond to the comment or the question that he might have raised, coupled with this one.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Sanele Gamede and other colleagues. You've said a mouthful, Mr. Gamede. I don't know where to start. You are really in a quagmire in South Africa. And I like the perspective that you are coming from. I don't know where to start. When you talk about the Indian community selling Zulu or Xhosa artifacts, I once looked for an artifact, and in Joburg, it's only Indian people who are selling those things. And you wonder, where are we? I mean, when boys go to the mountain, there's specific clothes that you must buy for us, Xhosa people. It's Indians who are selling those clothes, even in the Eastern Cape. And you wonder, where do we feature? We are just consumers in this economy. Our economy is just looking outwards to take, imports. Look at items like if you want a toy, for your kid, you'll buy a plastic toy that is made in China. For God's sake, can't we make those things in South Africa? We've got a lot of human capital. Exactly the point. Our kids go to tech, go to university, and study. 60% of them are studying public management. And government, once you do public management, that means you want to be employed in the public sector. And the public sector is busy shedding jobs. And you've got your daughter, your son studying public management. And you are bored in the job that you are in. I'm working in supply chain. I'm at a director level, but the job is just admin oriented, honestly. I don't utilize even 20% of the knowledge and skills that I have. Honestly, just admin oriented. It's boring. So yeah. I don't know how we get out of this mess. It looks like, for me, I think our education system is not aligned with the needs of the industry. It's totally not aligned. I was reading only this morning an article in the Business Tech website. The CEO of Capitec is saying they are looking for, they've got jobs for 500 people, and he's saying there's a shortage of skills like for business analysts, developers, data engineers, scientists, BI, business intelligence analysts. But we've got kids that are studying. We've got kids that are unemployed out there. I mean, once you graduate, 3 years pass, 5 years pass. I've got my niece. She did what do you call it, geology. It's more than 5 years. She can't get a job. She can't get a job. Because why? She studied geology and South Africa mining. Mining as an industry in South Africa is contracting now. It's contracting. Some of the mines now is too expensive to run. So I don't know, there's really, we've got Department of Education, national, tertiary and also primary. We've got National Department of Education, we've Provincial Department of Education, but it's a mess. My wife is working in the Department of Education. She was a teacher. It's a mess, I'm telling you. When kids are just passed, they're let through. And we have a kid that is supposed to be a grade 7, but the kid, her literacy or numeracy is at maybe grade 2 or grade 3. You have kids that are grade 7 or grade 8 that cannot even write. It's a mess. It's a mess. I don't know where to start. You know, Mr. Gamede, the work that you are doing is very good. And I think because the problem that you are sitting with is a lack of entrepreneurs, it's lack of people who are interested in developing our community. I stay in Centurion, and you can see here when we rush to work, you know, the white guys, they drive in their cars, maybe they're going to whatever, to their farms, whatever, they're running their own business, they are running their own economy. You can actually stay in Centurion for a year without going anywhere. Everything is here. They run their own economy. I don't know. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, good Zola. I think any problem yet we see too much.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Sikhuluma too much. I'm not an anti multilingual kind of a society, but inkinga yethu sikhuluma isingisi, and when I'm talking about we speak English too much, I'm not literally saying we speak English as in speaking it, but I'm saying we are Western even when we are truly Africans, South Africans, and so forth. So I think the idea here is to stop even this talk. Mina, Sis Felicia, I don't like these talks. I even decline some of them. They're very rhetoric for me. I don't know how I respected you. I charge 25 to 35,000 rand to speak. But some of the talks, even if you are going to give me that 25,000 rand, I don't go and speak. Even in some of the radio stations, some of the topics I don't speak about because they're very rhetoric. I can't be amongst the people that speak rubbish, who go and speak for the sake of speaking. I have so many things that I can do. That's why I'm practically running a program that doesn't need money, a program that doesn't need government funding, because there are so many things that do not need any funding, that do not need any support from government, that do not need any of these foreign people, that we can do without relying on anyone. I'm talking about the free mentorship at the park program. It's a program where a young person mentors 10 young people and meet them once at the park, once a month, and talks with these young people on a weekly basis on WhatsApp and find out how are they doing. We are creating, or I'm practically creating a situation where we are not going to have Utapsile getting hungry without anyone knowing. We are not having a situation where Utapsile is raped and no one is attending that case. We are not having a situation where Utapsile is called for an interview. Sorry, Utapsile, to use you as an example. And Utapsile do not have imali, and yet we are Centurion only 50 rand. Uzola has 50 rand because Uzola is going to buy a pizza after the session. Which means which means some of the solutions we are so rhetoric about, and we are busy talking about education as if education costs that much and it costs money that we don't have. We have the money, it's just that we haven't started prioritizing. To Spanish, we haven't started prioritizing action. We just meet here and spend 1 hour, 22 minutes speaking about something that we can just go out there and talk. Mangitsi, I'm being practical, Putzola. I'm being for real. I'm being for real. Let us start being practical about these issues and let us start engaging in a very practical way in these issues.
You are so right, Sanele. Fortunately, you're speaking to somebody who's got 28 kids that are under her wings and mentoring, whether it's sport, whether it's trying to say to them, you can open a car wash along the street and somebody will come and wash their cars and they will give you 20 rands. So I understand what mentoring and coaching is. And when I read your profile, I said to myself, this person can actually share so much information about how we can assist the young people to get out of, I want to sit in the office also. I want to be employed by government also. Government is looking at cutting the number of employees. So by the time they cut the number of employees, how many people are going to be unemployed and how many people will not be able to fend for their families? For how long are we going to get this grant being paid to people? The 350 is not even making a difference, but people go and pay for it without even taking that 350 and buying soap and a cloth and stand at the corner of a street and say, I'm washing cars, please come, let me wash your car. You know, I sat in a street one time and I observed those people who are said to be staying in the street, you know, the homeless. And those people will always have money to buy the drug they want because they will always take water from the drainage system and come and wash your car, whether you like it or not, because you want your car to be washed, they will take and wash your car and they get the money. But our people who have went to school, who are educated and even understand, are not even doing that. So the aim is to actually say to everybody, we can actually, each of us, do something about this. I mean, a person who's sitting at home, Zola, and having a geology degree, there are some things that person can do outside of them having that degree. But because this degree is so glorified, and as you speak, Sanele, and you're saying, I've got this degree, they're like, I also want to have those degrees. But those degrees are not necessarily assisting them because they don't even know how to use them. They don't even know how to, to move beyond just having that gown. I look at LinkedIn and say to myself, we are continuously promoting the fact that we should graduate, which is fine. When a 60-year-old person graduates now with a junior degree, what are they saying to a young person? I'm just asking myself those kind of questions when I'm looking at the things that people are doing. And we always say government is not doing anything, but what are we doing? What is it that we are doing in our small space where we are expected to do? So I've got 28 and now they are growing towards 30 to 40. And yeah, it's huge. It needs more people because one cannot be able to do it alone. And it can be costly at some stage. Those who want to play soccer, you create for them a soccer team. Those who want to play netball, you create for them. We call a netball president. And I ask, what is it that Netball South Africa is doing to make sure that the kids make a living out of this netball playing? As much as she explained, but to a certain extent, I felt like there's just a small group of people who have been, groomed and elevated to there. But there's nothing that is still continuously being done as part of development and making sure that these kids, see as netball as a way of earning a living like soccer is doing, So yeah, it will require all of us. I'm glad you actually came and you did not say no, because people are going to learn from your talk. And when everybody or 90%, 80% has been vaccinated, we are definitely going to go out and do this outside of sitting behind the computer and talking. Dr. David, there was something you wanted to say? Oh, yeah, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you, Ntate Sanele Gamede, for the fact that you're prioritizing youth. I would like to say thank you so much, and please continue with the good work that you're actually doing in our country and in the entire world. I'm still digesting all what was shared with us. I mean, this is interesting, and I strongly agree with you. I strongly agree with all what the colleagues have already highlighted. I also want to flag on a few things. Firstly, you spoke about proper career guidance. Then I'm asking myself, after so many years, okay, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, of course, we're supposed to be talking about improper career guidance or lack of career guidance. But in 2021, I mean, if we still don't have proper career guidance, then it means something is not right with us in South Africa. That's the first one. What needs to happen? What must we do? Or don't we have courageous leaders? Don't we have thought leaders? So these are the questions that I'm asking myself. We should be talking about proper career guidance in all 9 provinces. Secondly, youth unemployment, of course, it's a problem. It's a significant one. And it's like we're in a Titanic which is sinking. But then I'm asking, 2 weeks back, I'm in Limpopo, I'm working in one of the provincial departments, and the Office of the Premier, they actually wanted job creation strategies from provincial departments. Then I'm asking myself, we're in 2021, don't we have job creation strategies? Because youth unemployment is a problem. Or don't we have job creation strategies that are implementable? These are the questions that I'm asking myself. Then there is an issue of creating work opportunities for young people, especially those who are still at school. Then I'm asking myself, how do you do it? Because as a country, we failing to create work opportunities for those graduates. How do we then create work opportunities for young people who are still at school? It means there are 2 problems now, and hence I'm saying we're in a Titanic, and it's actually sinking. It's a huge problem. And next, you spoke about the issue of professionalism, where, I mean, young ones, those who are looking for work, they have to be professional, because, I mean, you spoke about the CVs and all that. So I think what I've observed, because in my department, we sometimes also, you'll see that Z83, and it does not have attachments. And you're talking about a person who is unemployed and wants a job. So if there are no attachments, surely there's no way you're actually going to shortlist that person. The person is out. So professionalism is extremely important. But then there's also an issue of I just want to share with you this. I mean, we're approaching elections. You have these young ones who are actually going around in townships, in towns, in villages, and we're talking about unemployed youth. And they are being, I will say, used or sent by those political parties to say, go and convey this message to say, if you vote for us, then unemployment will be a thing of the past. And you are using a person who is unemployed. What are you saying? I mean, as a political party, what are you saying to, I mean, the community members? Because a person who's unemployed is saying, vote for this political party, we will create jobs, there will be proper roads, but is a person who is unemployed. So something is not right with us or our systems or our frameworks. Lastly, I just want to talk about, I mean, how do you successfully coach and mentor someone who's hopeless, someone who's demoralized, someone who's broke? I mean, you've been in the field, like what I've had for so many years. I mean, there's this person who's thinking, where will I get my next meal? And you saying, come here, let me coach you, let me show you how things are done. But this person is already down. The person is demoralized. How do you then successfully do it? I mean, you have been in the field for so many years. So let me just stop here. Or lastly, there is an issue of, I just want to, obviously you were talking about these intervention strategies or the survivors. So there's an issue of EPWP, Expanded Public Works Program. There's a Community-Based Public Works Program, CBPWP. What is your take on these programs? Are they really assisting us as a country, or we just, I don't know, are we a lost society? Where are these, especially these two programs? I mean, are they really making a difference in our society? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Butwami. And we'll pass Felicia and go straight for the interest of time. For the interest of time, we'll just pass her and go straight. Thank you so much for your remarks and your contribution. Sometimes I normally wish I could have 1,000 people listening or watching to these kind of discussions, because in most cases, I find them very infutile, because it's the same people who are doctors, who are senior executive, who are lecturers and whatsoever, who sit in these meetings, who attend these workshops, and who actually take opportunities to study further and all of that. Yet our young people are drowning. And one of the reasons why we don't see them here, you have highlighted as a question, Uguti, how do you coach this person who is really hopeless? I think to answer that question, the restoration of hope is very important, but at the same time, very difficult. So I normally take people back to their purpose, try to remind them about their purpose, and try to redirect them to living a purpose-driven life, and try to help them define. Because what has been done is we tell people how to live a purpose-driven life, and we define a purpose-driven life from textbooks that are just behind me. But we don't allow people to define what is living a purpose-driven life according to them. I normally ask people, Uguti, how are you feeling right now? Where do you want to be? And trust me, a lot of people, doctor, will tell you, Uguti, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a musician, I wish I could be employed. And that's where you start unpacking the issue of, so you feel like you are stuck. Atiena, yes, I really feel like I'm really stuck. And the next question could be, if you were living an unstuck life, what life could you live? And then they are very good in sharing that picture. Yoguti, I will be living in Mhlanga or a Palito or a Hilton or wheresoever, some of these fancy places and all of that. And we then go as far as practically saying, what is stopping you from living there? And then they then start dropping down or jotting down some of the reasons why they are not there. In that process, they actually don't realize that we are creating a purpose-driven life, a roadmap. We are creating a vision board. But Mauzoti was a vision board, they won't come. But if you confront them where it hurts, trust me, they will engage with you, they will answer you, they will give you what they are looking for. Some of the solutions, as part of your second question, most of the solutions that we have, they are top-down kind of solutions. they are not bottom-up solutions.
Mm.
We build roads, we build schools, we put electricity, we give people qualifications without asking them, what is it that Zola are you looking for? we come and say we'll build schools, we'll build without asking. I normally say, if I was going to be a counselor, I will be the best counselor. A ward counselor. We actually, Mrs. Felicia, she is doubting me. I will be the best ward counselor because ward counselor is the most useless job ever, because there is nothing that you do. It's like being a minister, it's like being a president. There's nothing that you do. It's set by this thing that you said, Doctor. What is it? Labo IDP, Labo IDI, Banbani, that are set by these big corporations, these people who own the countries, this big corporate. I'm very sorry for a young person who's listening to this. This is very matured, and it's not something that you can just speak to a young person. President who use this, but really, I love when a councillor said, I will build a road, I will put electricity, and I'm asking, can we electricity to far ban? How far no ESCOM, and when I was ESCOM, I'd say how so grant. I'll make sure you get the grant in this boost. The grant can I come in with social development. Can do social development uhlangana begin ama councillor. I'd say I will build roads into Naibo. I fall in under Department of Transport. So a councillor will build us roads, ganjani, because you don't even have an idea how much a road costs, because you are just nothing but a subcommittee, a chair of a committee that has been created, a committee about transport, a committee about human settlement. That's what they do. They are elected to be part of these subcommittees so that they can just go there and ask questions and all of that. So I'm answering you, Doctor, to say, give me one solution in this country. Start with a BE that was meant for a Black person and that has developed a Black person. Give me one and we'll engage. There is nothing since 1994. There is no program in this country that was designed for a young or for a Black person that has ever helped a Black person. It was all a way, these things I don't like talking about them, they are recorded, and a young person who's listening to this or watching this would be very much confused with what am I talking about? Until I'm talking to doctors and they understand what I'm talking about. There is literally nothing. Start with BE. Who benefited from BE? It's not a Black person.
Big companies.
There is no one who benefited from all these programs. Doctor, please come through. I know you asked this question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I strongly agree with you. Then I'm thinking, yeah, why are all these initiatives especially fail in Africa? And I strongly agree with all what you're saying. Who are the beneficiaries of all what we are introducing as interventions? Who are the beneficiaries? Something else. Obviously, not necessarily the Black person, not necessarily the youth. Hence, they remain unemployed. And the problem continues. So thank you so much. Strongly agree with
Uzola can't wait, and we are now bypassing the chair.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But I just want to say, as much as all these programs have not been created for Black people, I think we usually stay as Black people in the complaining space. And when you come as a breath of fresh air to say, as much as there are these things that have been created, as much as there are these programs which are not necessarily assisting Black people, but there's a detour that we can take and come behind the door and make sure that we partake in this economic development without having to get funding from these big companies. And one way or the other, we'll finally be able to tap into that I mean, government will have to indicate why are they not funding a specific company that is growing and that is developing. I saw toilets that have been manufactured in the Eastern Cape in a rural school. And the question I ask, why is this thing not replicated in order to eradicate the pit toilets, for instance, in Limpopo? It's because there's a possibility that those big companies will not partake in those. But how do we educate our people to continue doing those things, irrespective of them not benefiting from government, but finding a way of doing them? Because those people who came up with those toilets are not necessarily being funded by government. So yeah, I agree with you. But I just want us not to sit in the complaining box, but to also say, as a young person, it is possible for you to take a detour and find a way to start. Yes, you may not have that money to start, but some of the things may not necessarily need a lot of money. You can be able to engage people like yourselves. They may not have the 400 to do, but you have got like the free session, which some of us are now challenged to have those free sessions in our space. I mean, Dr. Tefu, in your village or wherever you are staying currently, the question will be, how many people are you mentoring to, sort of imparting skills based on your qualifications? Zola, your supply chain management, young people don't even understand
Exactly.
how that is supposed to be implemented. To them is, you must buy yourself into getting these tenders. You must sell yourself, in an immoral way as a young person to get this tender, sleep around in order to get the tenders. How do we educate them to know this is the right way of getting this thing? So no, I don't have an issue of the discussion is actually very good, because it's actually opening even the eyes of the young people to know what is currently going on, and they cannot be bought into voting for somebody who does not even have money to buy even a bar of soap. They just rely on signing a document that will allow them to probably have access to those, sometimes through corruption. So
maybe let me go back to answering Dr. Tefu. I like what you are saying, Siswami. But it's very painful when some of us talk about this. As long as you are giving us new boots to go and walk in the same mud that was intentionally created, you are not providing a solution, but you are benefiting out of that supposed solution. I don't know if this will sound a lot. Yeah. When you are giving me new boots and you want me to walk in the same mud that no one wants to clean, you are not creating any solution. We have Mkuku in the country, informal settlements, and there's someone who has the decency. I don't know if I'm saying the right English, but we have someone who has the guts, Dr. Tevi, to go and install electricity and put water in that kind of a setup. And then you are telling me that you are providing development, and you have the decency to even point that as development. That's not development. That was a way for someone to make a living out of a situation. And it's unfortunate that if we don't take these to our own hands, someone else is going to continue benefiting. Zola, we can have this conversation in the next 5 years from today. We'll be still talking about the same problem if we don't have Uzola having 200 young people in the country that he's not buying Amagwinya for, but Uzola created a situation or a system where these young people have someone who can mentor them. And trust me, guys, it sounds as bizarre and it sounds as something Dr. Tev probably is busy and doing postdoc and doing that. It's like, Sanele, where would I get the time? Trust me, as I've introduced myself, that I'm doing my PhD, I'm a full-time lecturer, I'm running an organization. All those things, I'm not doing them because, I want to be fancy. I just got accepted, or I just got selected to go and represent, I think, South Africa or Africa in the United Nations Youth Model Conference in Turkey and in Egypt later in December. And I don't know if I will end up going, and if I don't go, it's like the awards that are meaningless when the person who's given the awards is not even doing anything to change the next person or like work. So for me, it's just that kind of rhetoric that we all over and all over we on. So that's why I am asking even a young person who's going to be watching this, I'm asking this young person to think outside Lodaga and think of a way of cleaning this mud first, of challenging government to clean this mud. Let us not be happy and comfortable when government comes and install a 4 million rands. Of course, they say it's 4 million when we know it's 800,000. A 4 million lab, computer lab, in an informal settlement, and you expect the thing to last for 8 months. The thing is not going to last for 8 months. In 3 months, Abafana, they will have stolen all the computers because you are giving people new boots to go back and walk in the same mud. Sister Felicia, I'm speaking about this because you said you want solutions, and you are going to send this recording to stakeholders and all of that. These are some of the people that don't even care about what we are talking about here anyway. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I normally encourage scholars to write and publish, to speak in radio, to write in newspapers, because some of the reason why the publishing industry by Konkarisha after the 1500s, they took the publishing industry, because in our books, our forefathers, they had nothing up until late in the early 1900s. That's when we started seeing Abantu Amnyama going back to write, because it is through writing, it is through engaging in such where you then have a point of reference. A young person will listen to this recording in 25 years from now. The same way we are reading these useless books that do not solve. Where's Spanish? I will ask you to visit my house, and you'll go to this book. I don't know how many, it's over 100 books here. There is no one book that talks about a solution of an African child.
Yes.
Through an African language, through an African or Afrocentric kind of setup. It's the same people who have created the mess, and they're bringing the same solutions. And we keep on buying the same thing, because this, let me pick, as in pick, there is this one, publishing, How to Live an Unstoppable Life. They're all written by white people, by the way. Water for the Soul, Say Yes, How to Overcome Addiction. And addiction came from them. We're never addicted, as Africans. Insangu has never, we were never addicted to Insangu. They came with addiction, and they wrote books on how we can, Uzola can't hold himself, he's laughing. They came with addiction, and they wrote books on how to eradicate addiction, which is caused by them. They set up ama rehabs, which they caused. Let me go on, man. I can come this side and look at Teenage 101, what a top teacher wishes you know about helping your kids succeed. Succeed in what? In what terms? Who said my kid is not succeeding? Succeeding in what? What would you want my kid to succeed in? Learning revolution, the new learning revolution. What happened to the old? Who developed the old? who told you that the old didn't work to bring the new?
I hear you.
All these things, they mean nothing. They mean nothing until we cut the umbilical cord, and we are not prepared to cut the umbilical cord. That's why, apologetically so, I'll ask that in time's sake, for time's sake.
No, yeah.
These things, they Sis Felicia, Dr. Tefi, Temsile, Butzola, and anyone who's going to watch, this thing sounds very rhetoric. Very rhetoric. You know why they sound very rhetoric? Wamanje, we are speaking English, yet we can all hear each other here. And umbuzo uthi, what the hell are we doing?
Because there will be people who do not understand Zulu or any other African, South African language.
And we are not speaking to those people. Those people, they might not even bring solutions, but bring more problems to us, because Obabamkulu didn't care ukuthi umuntu omhlophe didn't speak in, who couldn't hear them speaking in Xhosa, because they had no relationship with umuntu omhlophe. It was until we created the relationship thina nomuntu omhlophe, and we thought we can't survive without umuntu omhlophe, that we then created this mess, and we lived through the same mess over and over again.
Amen.
You are very uncomfortable that I'm talking about this, because you probably have big people in big places that we are going to watch this recording, and you're thinking to yourself probably, how am I going to cut this useless person in this recording? Because I probably want to share this. I'm being serious, Dr. Tev. I'm being serious, my brother. You are saying?
You know, one last thing from me. You know, I will be disconnecting soon. There are very strong threatening lightnings in Polokwane. So I will be disconnecting soon. But my last comment, I think it's a topic for another day, especially when there's a colleague who said, especially discontinuing those qualifications that we regard them as useless. And I'm asking myself, if, I mean, you are a lecturer, I also obviously will be coming to the institutions of higher learning soon. And if I'm there, I'm teaching, let me say, public administration, and there is a person who comes and says, but this is useless. I mean, how will I feel about that? And don't you think we will still be creating, we will be contributing to unemployment? Because what will happen to those who are in public administration? What will happen to those who are in travel and tourism, who are lecturers in those fields? What will happen to them? If we are saying we regard travel and tourism as useless. So I think it's a topic for another day. It's a very interesting one. Thank you.
Sorry, it's a very interesting topic. Sorry, guys, I didn't unmute myself. It's a very interesting topic. That's why I was saying to the young people earlier at the mentorship at the park, you might do tourism, and I'm not stopping you from doing tourism, but the most important part is to create opportunities, look for opportunities. Inside tourism, tourism might not be useless. And trust me, public administration might not be useless because ngiyayizwa le concern. Kodwa at the end of the day, akhona vele ama qualifications that I think even the lecturers that are lecturing them needs to discontinue pushing the same thing. It's like perpetrator ukubulala abantu ngama drugs, just because when you are earning a living in creating those drugs. Are you then saying, let us continue creating these drugs because who's creating the drugs, while these drugs, we have concluded that they are creating so much havoc in the society. They are killing so many people. I don't think we will be doing justice to the society. But at the end of the day, I think we need to then look for better and innovative ways on how we can improve the drugs that we are creating if they are in a way killing people maybe in the long run, to say, how can we change this drug to be less harmful in this human body? So you are right, Mauzi. It's a discussion for another day. And I'm also interested in getting invites, Dr. Tef, even in Limpopo, Zola, wherever you are, System Sile, wherever you are, to engage in these things. I know I sounded as someone who do not want to speak rhetoric, but I am very much interested in engaging for solution purposes and for engagement as Osisa Pambili and all of that, and honestly discuss and honestly talk about this truth. Singatika boxes, busy so that ngizokhuluma something interesting and like, wow, what a nice session. Oh yeah, but I've spent 2 hours. 2 hours. I should be marking. So I should be marking. I have a marking due next week, and I have my PhD chapter that was due last week. I should be marking, and when you were like, oh no, this conversation without anything that you are going to learn from this conversation. It's Felicia.
You didn't waste your time, Buti. You didn't waste your time. This was actually very necessary, and we need people like you who will not want to be politically correct. They will state things as they are. And I tell you, this is going to go viral. I'm going to make sure that young people get access to this, and I know they will share over and over. I also have a TikTok. So I'll take small clips of your talk, paste them on TikTok, and they are busy listening to them. And some will be asking questions, because that's how we can get hold of them, since we cannot go to them, some of us, But those that we can be able to engage, I know they will send to the next friend and the other friend. So thank you so very much. I really appreciate your having made time. I didn't have the 25,000 or 25 or whatever, but the fact that you agreed to come and speak, I really appreciate. And I promise you, the people who attended are not even taking this lightly. I'm busy receiving WhatsApp messages. Are you done? Can we still connect? I'm like, no, we are almost done. So I'm going to still share with them. And thank you so much for those that stayed. Zola, thank you for making time. Dr. Tefu, thank you so much. And those that disconnected, we really appreciate for having made time. I will share with everybody your contact details, but you can check his work on www.sanelegamede.com. Then you'll get all the details and be able to engage and find a way to be a mentor and a coach wherever you stay. It doesn't have to be a big group. We start small. So thank you so much. Any closing and saying goodbye remarks?
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much a lot. I love engaging and talking about this. This is going to take us some time, but if we are prepared, we can face this enemy and make sure we eradicate some of these social issues that we are facing. But if there is one thing that I would like you to walk away, whether you are here or listening or watching this clip, is don't participate in rhetoric. And when I'm talking about rhetoric, I'm talking about this kind of discussions that do not make any sense to anyone, that are not providing any solution to anyone. It's just wasting our data, wasting cards, amusing and all of that. Let us not participate in such. Let us not promote such. Sometimes we go to events which really promote the crisis that we are facing as a country, instead of saying we are canceling. There's that cancel culture, Sis Felicia, that they implemented in the US or in many parts of the world, even in South Africa, where we cancel celebrities and all of that. I think we need to start canceling some of the useless things and programs that we we are given, that we are invited to attend, to say, we don't want those programs. We are not coming, and really, we don't come. What I normally say, Uguti, you can't say you are going there so that you can eat, so that you can get a free t-shirt, as if all this time, so that as if all this time. So we are ICC, so how all this time. So I hear young people say, Sanele, I'm just going there to have lunch and all of that. I think the more we go into this event, is the more these people are getting rich, is the more these people are selling this rhetoric to us. And we continue receiving it, because I think we are so hungry. We can't even face the fact that this is nonsense. So thank you so much, Sis Felicia, and thank you so much to everyone who was watching. I love you guys. I will connect with you on social media. I am Gamede Sanele in all social media platforms. So I'm looking forward to connect with you.
Thank you so much. And as we close, be safe and sanitize and put your masks and social distance. I am Tembegile Felicia Makubele on Are We Transforming? Yeah, this was a very informative one. We will definitely find a way to transform. Have a lovely evening and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. This was quite informative. Very informative. Thank you.